to Ladies Lounge. Splash 105.5 FM.
I am feminine, I am masculine, I am.
It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday evening, and we're excited to welcome you on board to Ladies Lounge right here on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Tumi, and I'm super pumped to say welcome on board to the show. Yes, yes. Oh my God.
You guys already know what time it is when Amanda is here.
Go ahead, Amanda. On a Saturday evening.
I don't know. I'm not sure if the time. Okay, let me just adjust myself as usual to the groove. So yeah, as always, I'm super duper excited to be here. Hyper pumped. You know, it's my ladies now. My super tag team partner.
Okay.
And my wonderful, amazing sister.
Okay.
Nice. So you can imagine, I'm in the midst of love.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's always a beautiful feeling
And
to be right
she's
here.
Amanda, by the way.
Hello, baby.
She's Amanda. She's Amanda.
I actually wanted her to say it the way she said it.
Okay, my name is Amanda.
I don't think I will ever get it because I always try.
Oh, my days. I'm yours truly, Grace Akan Francis.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Sure
So,
thing.
let's talk about what we saw during the week that caught our attention.
Well, for me, it has to be the rescue of the children and their teachers. I mean, for us on the morning show, it was a harrowing countdown we had to do every day. We didn't think that we would get to 56 days,
Honestly.
really, when we started that countdown. We thought it was just going to be a thing of maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks max, they're back home. But we're happy to have them back home.
We're excited.
We're excited to have them back home. But much more than that for me is that we're not seeing a recurrence of this, you know, and there's still other people in captivity.
You know, that's
this was Oyo 44, there's still the War 176, and then
Kitty.
and then there is this Kogi now, the NECO supervisor, and some students who were kidnapped as well. We don't want to be hearing that kind of thing in Nigeria. We want to be able to go to bed with our two eyes closed across different parts of the country. That's really the Nigeria we want.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, when we know that a number of people are at peace, then I'm sure that we'll also be at peace. We all know how this particular one affected a number of us.
It did. It took a
had days
toll.
where
It took
we
a
had
toll.
days when we were on air and then we were just lost, but we had to just show up. So it
Yes.
was so much, and it was also, very exhausting. But I hope that we will not have recurrence of things like this. That's the important prayer. Honestly.
Absolutely. I think it takes the spotlight. If you want to talk about, you know, stuff that has happened on social media that people are really, really talking about, it would have to be the fact that these children have been rescued. Shout out to the appropriate authorities who made sure that this happened. I never thought it was going to happen. At some point, I had lost hope. I thought that because if you notice, there was a time that, you know, everything died down.
Yeah, like the noise.
We were not talking about it anymore. That nobody really cared anymore. People had moved on to business as usual.
Right.
But, you know, it was such a joyful thing to actually get to hear that these people had been rescued. So it meant that the government were
It meant that whilst we thought that we had moved on, they were actually working.
So kudos, and I'm so glad that we can have faith and hope in our security system again.
Indeed.
I hope that this
You know,
will
I think something else
continue.
that was very funny was the fact that people were being, I don't know, I want to say, there's this word people are using, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And saying that they were looking happy, they were well dressed, they were smiling.
All of those
And in my
plenty
head, I'm
conspiracy
like, why are you
theories.
interested in all of those things and not just excited that these people are back home and back to their
Yeah.
I mean, it's
parents?
expected. It's
No,
expected.
of course.
They were comparing pictures
They
and
will
saying
always
they look
compare
kidnapped
victims.
and all that and that.
So, somebody said, have you ever been kidnapped? So
You know, you even know.
Where you want to
Exactly.
be.
How do you know?
Maybe you want to
I don't
taste
get
it.
it.
Because in the pictures that we first saw, they were chubbier. They looked bigger and healthier.
Right, but now they
because of
looked
what the party had gone through,
emaciated.
they looked emaciated. So it made sense that they looked like that. It's not enough, you know, proof, or it's not grounds to say that, oh,
The whole
they were
thing
not the
was
real thig-
staged.
Like, how?
It's
I don't know.
ridiculous.
They should prove it.
There's probably a theory or something they call it, but I feel like some people are just down to contradict everything.
Yes.
So when they feel like things are going too smooth, they find a way to just add something
Like,
controversial,
yes.
and people will start talking about that
I
particular
agree with
thing.
you,
So,
Tumi.
Until they bring proof.
yeah, that's the way.
That's their issue. We don't know what they're talking
but
about.
we have to move on.
Yes, please.
Because our hearts are filled with gratitude today.
That's right.
And Grace will help us to open up the
Yes, I think that what we have going today is quite an interesting
It's
one.
an interesting
It is. At
because-
first listen, I'm like, whoa, this is good. I don't even know what to say about this. But yeah, break it down.
So it's interesting because it borders on family, relationships, marriage, and all of that. So I stumbled on this story on X and I was sharing it with my ladies. So we just thought, let's make a conversation out of this and see how we can make sense of it. So this man, apparently his father took all his pension funds and everything and pushed it into his relocation journey, being the first son of the family. So he traveled to Canada, and the agreement, the deal, of course, which is normal for a lot of people who are sponsored by their families. The deal is that when you get there and you settle, make sure that you're pulling up your younger ones as well. That is usually the deal. And so this man travels out, and then he's doing well now. He's settled. He has a wife and a child back here in Nigeria. But then he says to his wife, okay, I think I'm now settled. I'm able to bring somebody, and I'm going to bring my younger brother. And that's where all hell let loose, because his wife is saying, what do you mean by you're going to bring your younger brother? I'm here with your child, and they are putting your younger brother as the priority over me. It's supposed to be me and your son first before your younger brother. So the conversation, a lot of people are divided on the conversation, but I'm just going to start with, before I even open the floor for you ladies, to me it's itching already to bring it on. But I'm just going to say that. So I think that I'm on the side of the man, all right, and that to say that his younger brother should be the next person, because you know that when you travel abroad, if you are the only one abroad, there is this maybe said and unsaid responsibility that you have to cater to the people back home.
Yes.
Now, what makes it even more prominent is when you were funded by family member. You owe it to them, whatever the terms of agreement of that funding is. If it is that, you will be sending money back home, you must keep to it. If you're a person of integrity, you must keep to it. If it is that, when you're settled, you bring your younger one, you must keep to it. Even if you are self-funded, you have the right, the authority to say whoever you are going to bring after you are settled. Nobody can tell you. But if some people have come together to say, listen, we're going to send you ahead, and this is what you would do when you have gone ahead. I don't think the wife should be making an issue out of it, but ladies.
Okay. Well, let me quickly say this. Okay. Grace, you've hit the nail on the head right here by, every means, by the way the situation has played out. I think that because it was the first thought, I'm like, aside that, if it wasn't that the family supported, his father funded and brought money, and, of course, it was only a bit to actually help the family grow. Right. You know how like families come together and say, okay, we want you to help the family when one person is standing and he takes on another person and gives them legs to stand as well, and the other person takes on another person. It helps the family in general, in totality. So that way, everybody is not depending on one person or the other. So yeah, that's why I think, first of all, in every single, way you look at it, it should go that way. But then again, he has his immediate family, which rely on him for support. They rely on him for care.
Everything, basically.
He protects them. So they would feel neglected. It would seem like, okay, where do we now, fall?
The thing is, he's taking care of his family. He's doing well now, and she's enjoying the benefit of having a husband who is doing well overseas.
Is it possible?
She's getting more allowance.
Okay, is it possible now to strike a balance? This is where I feel like everybody should come together and try to understand the situation. Okay. Wife, brother, father, everybody involved. It's not a time to say, shut your mouth, don't talk. How dare you? What do you mean? My father brought money. He brought finances. He did this, he did that. So you're not supposed to be in a place of where you're saying, what about us? What about that? Find a way to balance it. Talk to your wife and make her understand. I know how you feel. I know you expect that since I'm your, husband and you're my immediate family, you guys, should take the foremost priority in my life. I get it. But this is why you can't be here now. This is why it has to be my brother who I'm going to take over there and then when he stands, when everybody's okay, then of course after
Makes
a
it
while I'll make
easier.
sure that I try to take care of you. In as much as I'm there, it doesn't mean that you've been neglected, because of course the family can begin to feel like they're being neglected.
Right.
And of course his foremost priority is his extended family, his
That's
brother
right.
and father, just because
That's
his
right.
father contributed financially to the whole situation. So talk to them, find a way to strike a balance, make her understand that this is why she can't come first. The approach is what matters to me the most. If you talk to her well, you try to make her understand, and you try to make her see that you're not neglecting her because you're taking your brother or you're taking sides with your father. Yeah, I'm sure she'd understand, and you find a way to
The
make
approach.
peace, and
I like
everybody
that one.
would
To
be
me,
okay. To me,
looks like you have a different outlook.
Well,
But let's hear it.
For this one, this actually is a lot to unpack. There's so many things I'm thinking about. But the thing about a story like this is, I think the problem is foundational. It starts from how that when people have needs, they often forget about the consequences or eventualities, things that can happen when eventually you get what you're looking for. Because I would think that if I have a family and I have to choose between bringing a brother and my immediate family as a man, I'll be thinking of my immediate family first. Because while you're talking about getting allowances, having a lot of money, you also think about the emotional needs, the physical needs. They have been married. In situations where people travel before their partners, sometimes they travel maybe after they've gotten married. So there's really this lack of time. There's really this space, this void where
Right.
when you get married to a person, the whole idea, I mean, even when we were younger, when you say, why do you want to get married? For companionship. So that's the first thing we all say. So I'll be thinking that before you even say yes to a kind of deal like that, you should consider the effect it will have on the family you have and the family you're coming from. It's the age-long debate. Who comes first? Your immediate family or the
the
ones
one
who
you're
raised
coming
you?
from.
So it's usually the problem, which is why I would say the problem is foundational. If I were in that situation, I would have said the younger brother should go. The one who's not connected to anybody. The one who is by himself. Maybe he has a girlfriend. You can still manage relationships if things are not solidified yet. But something that is built on a vow that will be together forever, and then you're mixing things up because you made a deal. So for me, I think that the decision was rushed or made in desperation, and now is reaping the consequences. But now that we're here, what do we do? So I understand the talking to the wife that Amanda said, but if you are the wife, what would you do in that situation if you have needs? You really have needs. So let's even bring the libido into question. Your libido is way higher and you have physical gracie size. It's true. So your libido is higher, you have sexual needs, and then your partner is saying that okay, he's been there before you start making enough money to bring somebody to Canada. You would have spent a number of years. So let's even try to hypothetically, you spent 3 years already, and now you've been married. You have 3 years that you've been apart from your wife. So somebody is saying that you should still choose your brother. Now it's to take how many years again before you now bring me your wife?
It may actually not take that long.
That's what
Once
I'm
you
gonna
get
say,
the person in,
Okay.
and
It
the
might not-
person will immediately look for something to do. And
Yes.
Because when you say immediately look for something to do,
You may still need to
putting
support-
into question the reality of
Yes,
moving abroad.
you may still
and
need to
getting
support that person. But the biggest job is bringing that person in.
over. Yes.
Once the person is in the system, they will find their way around. Even if you might still need to support them for a while.
And let's not also forget that it could be easier for them to get a job real fast. Their system is different
That
over
can
there.
happen.
It is a 50-50 chance. They could get there, and if they're serious enough, if they're really, dedicated and focused, and they know what they're there for, and they push on fast enough, they could get something to do. And that way, there's funds. Because I think it works faster when there's funds to do all of these movements. If there isn't fun, that's when you not be saying, okay, it'll take a longer time.
Yeah.
But if you start working, you start being productive, you start hustling hard, you start finding your way around
Before
things.
you-
Now, so we're talking about how the wife might feel, how, his responsibility to his family should matter here. And it's very, very, like, if you ask
Valid.
me, it's so valid. That's why I said they rely on him for everything. So they should come first. By law, by every standard, once a person gets married, his immediate family
Comes
is
first.
his priority.
Right.
Daddy take a back seat. Mommy take a back seat. Siblings take a back seat. But in this case,
It's peculiar.
his father, there's a motive, there's an objective, there's a reason, and you are the first child. So of course, it wouldn't make any sense to go to the last child or to the middle child. I mean, that will come off as very disrespectful. It will make him feel like you guys don't even, come on, I'm the first. Why are you going to my
Minority.
middle or the last child in the family? That's disrespectful. That's kicking me out of my place. So it's only logical for everybody to really come to, I think the major thing here to do is, it's a family thing. Everybody has to understand in certain situations, that's why we're family, things will not necessarily always go the way we want them. Things will not always go the way we plan them. You know, so that's why if you're married to the right kind of person, and your kind of partner also matters here. The kind of partner you're married to. Is she understanding? Will she reason with you? Will she understand why this is happening? If she fails to see any reason or doesn't understand why this is happening, you know, in your family with you, it could then also be a problem.
So, you know, the thing is, let's set some scenarios, right? Being the only person in the family who is overseas, there is two sides, responsibilities on two sides. Responsibilities to his family, the family where he's from, to send them money, you know, black tax. And then he's responsible for everything for his wife and his child. But if he's able to now bring somebody else from his family, he can now, you know, relegate some of those responsibilities, family responsibilities, to the younger brother to say, listen, this is what you will now be doing for daddy and for mommy, for the family. That way, he's able to push in more resources to his wife.
You know,
so that's also another angle.
You know the reason I sit comfortably where I said? I sit because the idea of the transition between moving abroad and being actually financially responsible is not the very easy one. But I guess I will say more on that when we come back from this break.
All right.
Keep listening. Still Splash.
You're listening to Ladies Lounge. Splash FM 105.5.
lọ́pọ̀ ìgbà àwọn èèyàn kì í mọ bí dátà wọn ṣe máa ń tètè jó tán èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ alágbèéká wa jẹ́ kí n jẹ́ ẹ sí bó ti ṣe máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ gan-an kété tí olówó mi bá ti sùn ni màá ti máa ṣe ohun tí kò ní mọ̀ tó bá sì mọ̀ àpẹẹrẹ kí n sáré ṣe auto update nìyẹn tí oorun bá ti wọ̀ lára iṣẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn màá ṣe cloud backup tó bá ti wá fi oorun rẹ̀ sí GR3 gbogbo àwọn apps tó ti ṣí sílẹ̀ lèmi á máa refresh ní tèmi o tó fi dórí àwọn apps tí ó lò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ẹ mọ̀ pé mo gbọ́dọ̀ mọ gbogbo bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ lórí ayélujára tí olówó mi bá ti jí ẹgbọ́n tó máa ń wí.
yéè mo gbé o dátà tí mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣe máa ti tán.
ṣé mi ò sọ fún ẹ.
jára ẹ má jẹ́ kí fóònù ẹ máa fi dátà rẹ ṣe óblé ṣe àkíyèsí auto updates pa àwọn apps tí o kò bá nílò nígbàkúùgbà.
ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ lásán lèmi o kòkòrò tí ń jẹ dátà ní ìjẹkújẹ fún ẹni tí ò bá ṣe àmójútó dátà rẹ̀.
jẹ ìgbádùn dátà rẹ ní wẹ̀lẹ̀mú limit 100 MTN.
My brother, I hear say Lafarge don change name.
Yes now, Lafarge Africa PLC don transform come become HBM Nigeria PLC. The name don change but na still the same ogbonge cement and other building solutions company wey help build Third Mainland Bridge, National Assembly Complex, First and Second Niger Bridge dem, Cocoa House, National Theatre plus plenty HTRM construction for dis we country since 1960.
HBM Nigeria, formerly Lafarge.
HBM Nigeria PLC, formerly Lafarge Africa PLC, Beyond Buildings.
2 years ago, the biggest radio raffle hit we always won. Yeah, this been turning to weeks, weeks turning to months. Just like yesterday when you start cashier, don't they put the money inside the hands of people way bold, way get the courage, way get the mind to dare. This month of July, cashier, they celebrate 2 years of a better payout to lucky winners them. Watch out as we visit the location when near you this week, where you go fit play 3 to get 30 entries. Play 1 for 5 entries, and even serve. You fit to tell your friend or family member, and then go get 1 free entry. We gonna share over 50 billion naira this is July. Eat like your Iboko. No way to no slow down. If you want play on top of Splash FM, now star 347 star 1004 star 1 hash. If you want play for Lagelu FM, now star 347 star 1004 star 2 hash. On website www.cashier.ng. Remember, say you must be 18 years and above to play this cashier. Cashier 2 years anniversary. Shorty cashier, naughty cashier.
Shalatam Quality Anti-Malaria contains Artemether and lumefantrine. Available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets with very convenient dosing for kids. Shalatam is also available in tablets for adults. Knock out malaria in 3 days with Shalatam from Shalina Healthcare. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Shalatam is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Ètò àgò láàjìn ló wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́. Àgò láàjìn.
Ayé wa dùn bí oyin, adùn bí oyin sẹ́. Yorùbá.
Àkọ́tún àràmàdà ètò tá a gbé kalẹ̀ fún yín láàrin ọ̀gànjọ́ láti ṣètanijí fún gbogbo olólùfẹ́ rédíò jákèjádò tí ò fi tàsìkò kankan ṣe nígbà tó jẹ́ pé bí ọ̀sán gẹ́lẹ́ làjìn ẹlòmíín rí. Àjẹ́ pé kọ́gbọ́n sọ́hún pẹ̀lú atọ́kùn ètò àgò láàjìn ìyá àdínní gbogbo splash. Aminat Adétun Badmus Mọ́tfàlà ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ṣẹ́gun Tuesday láago 2 òru. Abala àkọ́kọ́ lórí ètò ni ní fàájì níbi tí ó ti máa jẹ̀gbáládùn onírúurú orin ilẹ̀ wa tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè tó sì tún pe ọkùnrin ẹni wálé. Abala kejì la pè ní sọ̀rọ̀ sókè níbi tí ó ti máa pè wọlé sórí ètò fẹ̀dùn ọkàn yín hàn tá ó sì máa wá ojútùú sí i pẹ̀lú àmọ̀ràn tó jiná koroko láti ẹnu ẹ̀yin amòye. Abdulhaji nìkan ni ọmọlúwàbí Splash 105.5 FM pẹ̀lú Aminat Adétun Badmus. Kai. Ó máa ṣerégedé.
Wọ́n tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ n ò lè ṣaláì má panilẹ́rìn lákòókò àpéjọpọ̀ ìtakùrọ̀sọ orí ìlà mọ̀lẹ́bí mi. Ó tiẹ̀ da ohun tí gbogbo wọn nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí ni mò ń sè. Ó náà ni àmì ìdánimọ̀ mi ti ṣe Maggi native jollof rice. Ìtọ́wò ẹ̀kan lásán, ara yín kankan ò sí lẹ́yìn ẹ̀.
Maggi Star tá a ṣe látara ẹ̀wà sóyà, àlùbọ́sà adùn chili àti kànáfùrù.
Oúnjẹ alẹ́ ti délẹ̀, ẹ máa bọ̀ jẹ́jẹ́ tàbí kí ẹ má wá rárá.
Maggi Star yóò sọ gbogbo oúnjẹ tá a ṣe dohun ara ọ̀tọ̀. Yóò sì tún sọ àkókò náà dàkókò mánigbàgbé.
Splash FM 105.5.
Woman don't fall, lower everybody.
Deep Talk, real conversations on Ladies Lounge.
If woman ever marry you.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is still Ladies Lounge right here on Splash 105.5 FM. And today we're talking about a very funny situation.
With his father's pension to travel outside the country on the agreement that when he gets there and he's settled, he will be sending money back home and then he will look for a way to get his younger brother to join him as well. But now the dilemma is that he has a wife and a son, and his wife thinks that she should be the priority, the next person he's thinking to bring, and not the younger brother.
Yeah, so I was talking about the transition between being abroad, moving abroad, and then being financially capable enough to say you want to handle responsibilities. Realities are very different. And while I understand being understanding, I think there's a level you get to and you understand, even you understand that you should not be understanding anymore. So while I get it that you should know the kind of partner you're with, you also know if I want to know the kind of partner that you are, you should know the kind of partner that I am. So there's a place of understanding that first when you make promises like this, I will be thinking that maybe the wife wasn't consulted before a promise
that
like
is, we assume she was not aware.
Because if she was aware, I do not think that she'll be fighting now, that she should be the next in line. This thing seems very dark, and then it feels as though this thing was just, sprung up like, to me, did you even know that my brother is coming next year? Oh, it's supposed to be us. I thought I told you now. She's supposed to be the one to come. So I just feel like something was lost, because if not, the woman would have known what she was going to sign up for. But now that the situation is like this, I get being understanding, and I get understanding the promises you've made before you traveled. But at the same time, before I think about bringing somebody else and hoping that the person, when they get to a certain point, they can also handle the financial responsibility, the time frame between that and the next thought in my head is very far from each other, or can be very far from each other. Because if you bring a young person, I was always conversation with somebody who was saying that a sister was telling her that if you want to travel here, at least for the first 2-3 years, you still have to rely on the people you're staying with. No accommodation, no job. The job will not pay you as much. Even if you're working 20 hours a week, you won't get as much as you would need to be sending money back home. So it means that you're going to be responsible for your immediate family. You're going to be responsible for the person who is going to be staying with you, and you're still going to be responsible
for sending money back home
to your family.
Until
now,
the
can you see how dicey the situation is?
Yes.
So in this, what would you
recommend?
Well, what I would recommend really is that there needs to be a conversation. Basically, everybody should talk about it, and maybe there should be less promises and more of let's see how things go. Because I think that the problem we're having here is that people keep making promises, and these situations are not exactly, they're not predictable. Things happen that we don't plan for. They even normal living. If you say you're moving to just Lagos and you say in like 2 months you'll be settled, you realize that these economic realities are different, and you have bills to pay. Because do not forget that living abroad also means that you're paying for every single thing that you use. So how do you now plan based on one person? I even think to a reasonable extent, we've talked about this thing about how that while I get being responsible for your family when you travel or when you become an adult, we also need to understand that the realities of being an adult, it's not the same as we usually think about it. This man might have no savings because he has to be responsible for everybody that is connected to him. This whole firstborn thing. Are you firstborn?
No, second actually.
Are you firstborn? So I feel like if I'm not a firstborn myself, but I feel like if you had a firstborn seated here, the conversation would be very different. Trust me. Because what?
Honestly, I totally get your angle. I get what you're trying to say here, and I understand it. Like first when I said, we're talking about it, I said, see, if you were to look at this logically, like the way it should really go, the primary responsibility to that man is his immediate family, his wife, her needs, his children. Like there's no other way to go. I
mean, when you consider the libido part,
exactly. When he's away, who will sleep with her at night? Who would make her feel like a woman? And there are children who need their father as well. We don't know for how long he'll be gone for. So even with the law, if you're talking about a married person, their number one responsibility, exactly. But you cannot, no matter how we look at this thing, no matter how we, try to look at angles, no matter how we try to see how it could affect one person or another, no matter how much we try to look at his, immediate family, we have to look at where this is coming from. It'll be totally unfair if we waved aside or completely tossed aside his father, who is the sole initiator or who is the sole funder or who is the one who thought about all of this and wants a better future for the family. Exactly. Who has come up with all of the whole idea to say, okay, look, I'm going to do everything I can to fund this. I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that, the family progresses. Everybody is able to, financially stand. Exactly. So there's no way. I get it. How we can look at these different angles and say, we should think about how it will affect other members of his family, especially his wife and, every other thing that's involved. So what I think he can do is find a way to, she's his wife. Make your wife your partner. I would say that your wife and you are one in this situation.
No.
Yeah.
Why not
they're a
one?
team.
Amanda, why not a team here?
See,
I'm not one.
I get it. No, I get it. I understand. But there have been situations where, spouses leave their, other house for greener pastures. Yeah. And those spouses, that's why I say it depends on how you look at it. All right? I would go from the angle of striking a balance, still finding a way to partner up with your wife. No. There's nothing that works more than communicating with someone who understands with you in a relationship or a marriage or a union.
She refuses to understand.
Now, if she refuses to understand, I think that what he can do is also find a way to talk to his father or his other family members.
But you can't do that. Agreement is agreement. So let me see this one. Agreement is agreement.
So are you going to say that?
Agreement is agreement.
Okay, now. I get it.
You for a settlement.
Okay.
Telling me nonsense.
So are you going to recommend that he backs out of it and says, okay, since nobody wants to agree, since it's not going to work out, because when things fall apart, the center cannot hold.
Amanda, see, we're talking about an agreement here.
I get it.
This is my own take about this matter. Okay. It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm not even trying to be the understanding wife. I mean, it's just common sense.
Yes.
Unless his wife was not aware of this agreement initially.
Yes.
Then she has every right to say, what do you mean by you're taking your younger brother when I am here and I've been waiting for you with your child? All right. If she was not aware, it's a different conversation.
Yes.
Then they have to use a softer approach.
Yes.
But if she was in on this agreement from the beginning, that listen, my father is pulling all his that
resources.
pension, all of that was supposed to be like the inheritance for all of his children. Okay, that's what he has worked for the years. Okay, he could have just said, okay, I'm just going to spend this money, or I'm just going to divide it amongst my children. At the end of the day, they won't be able to achieve something like that. But he decided, listen, I want to give all of you a good life, and this is my strategy. My strategy is that one person travels overseas, goes there, settles in, brings in the next person, another person. In fact, I've seen people who have shared their real life experiences on X, how that the first person went, brought in the next person. It was now the responsibility of that second person to bring in the third. So it means that the first has rested from those responsibilities, probably now facing his own personal development or his own family life. All right, while the second one now has the burden, carries the burden of bringing the next person.
Okay,
the third person carries the burden of bringing the fourth, and he says that is how they were able to pull every member of their family.
That's what a lot of families do, and it's great. That's so
and
good.
It's a great strategy.
Absolutely. That's why I support it.
If that agreement is on ground, I think his wife would have to be a little more patient.
That's my point.
It's not easy to wait.
That's why I said partner up with your wife. No, Tumi, hold on. That's why I said, as a wife, you and your husband, a proper marriage should be built on a foundation where you and your partner see each other as one, as partners. But it's the truth. Do you understand? It's not a time to start fighting and yelling and going your separate ways. You already scatter everything, and the center won't be able to hold.
And there's no point.
So there's
no.
Exactly.
It's not enough reason to me.
Is it enough reason for you to scatter? It's not enough reason. So if your wife is not understanding here with you, you can easily say, let me take some time and think about it.
But one thing
it's still finding a balance.
Yeah, I get your point. But at the same time, there's one thing I want to say. I watch Dave Ramsey's shows sometimes, and then I realize that when people get married, it even helps their finances. I hope we know.
Yeah, so when
they start living together, do you not think that they will find a better way to handle finances, send money home, bring the brother in? When the wife is already with him in Canada?
That the priority of the wife will now be to bring the brother? She will be thinking about her own family.
Exactly. And remember the person who funded this thing in the first place.
See, while I get all of this, I can't but think about the fact that probably the wife wasn't aware, or she wasn't told the extent or the depth of this agreement. Because I'll be thinking that if they all sat to have this conversation, it would have been easy for them.
Now.
It wouldn't be an issue now. And then she would even know that she comes first. It's a no-brainer if you ask me. If your husband is abroad, who should go next? Why should I be debating if it's me or you? It's me. It's my husband.
Are you the one that funded the trip? Are you the one? Are you the one who's? Is he the one that is doing everything? What about his father?
When it comes to funding, you see, the Nigerians are.
It's his father's.
Let's hear what you want to say about that.
When it comes to funding, I feel like we're just very funny people in Nigeria. As well, we put a lot of weight on because somebody spent money. I get the fact that the father has spent a lot of money, but at the same time, the mention of it that the father put all of his pay is already pressure.
Yes, now
on its own. Yeah. And I don't think that is all of the pension.
No,
it's all. I get
you know that relocation is not being.
Yeah, it's not being. People even take loans because they want their children to travel.
Yeah,
but I think that condition in itself is a bit complicated because of the reality of the person in question. If you were a single person, it would have been easier. When you travel, you bring your siblings. But I think that when we make plans for somebody who is already paired up, who is settled, who has a partner, we must take the family into consideration. Because before you tell me that when I'm for instance, I have a younger sibling and then I'm traveling, and you're telling me that I'll bring my younger sibling before my husband, these things have to be considered. And then you have to think for the woman. I'm all for being understanding. I'm all for being one, even though in this case we're not one. I'm all for being one. But at the same time, we also need to understand that patience itself has limits. We're human beings. We have our own threshold. And why would you tell somebody to wait for 7 years? So
is that the timeline? 7 years?
No timeline.
She just assumed. Okay.
So imagine that even you as a person, it takes you 4 years to settle in Canada.
Yes.
And then you're bringing your brother. So maybe it even takes him 2 years or even 1. That's 5 whole years without constant or consistent.
No, but when your brother
emotional, physical attention and care.
I don't think you need to wait for him to settle before you bring. You cannot begin to walk. You cannot begin to. I mean, within a year, you can.
To me, he's not going to see. His brother isn't going there to sit down and fold their arms now.
I know that
he'll be working.
The UK is 45 million. Why are you people talking about money as if it's 100K?
They want one person. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And then you pay bills. And then your father that gave you his pension will still collect money.
All his hard work.
I know. See, the truth is, so if a young person is listening now, or you're considering travel and you're already married, there needs to be a proper conversation. Because, you know, the funny thing is, there's a story that I know of. This person traveled and then, you know, he found a way to stay abroad. He couldn't come home for 7 years. Even when his mother passed, he couldn't come back for the burial. He was stuck.
Didn't have papers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it was also married situation. You know, married somebody, but his wife was here, so he couldn't travel. It was very complicated. So I am saying that when people travel, the difference between Amanda, when I go to the UK, don't worry, I'm giving you pounds every month.
No, you can get there, and it's different
from when I get there, and then I'm even struggling to eat properly.
Yes, I know.
People travel, they want to study, but they eventually have to defer because they need money first. So when we talk about travel, I think that we need to understand the realities, which is why I'm usually very skeptical when people say, oh, the family is putting money together. Because if you're putting money together, you also need to have a lot of patience. A lot of people will give you money to travel, and then they put a lot of pressure on you, and then they expect that in the same month or even within the space of 6 months, you're already sending a lot of money back. It's not always the case. Before you have a child abroad, and then you'll be thinking, oh, the child is wicked. Hey, this child will kill you. This child is not even merciful. That's not usually what happens when they get there. The realities are different. So when you make plans that, when you travel, you come and take your brother. It's not Lagos. See, this thing is giving all this old school film. When they say, when you go to the city,
go to the city.
Brother. It's not. See,
I'm going to the city. Yes, another. Say it. To me, I get the fact that, you know, the unforeseen occurrences there could take place and things might not go according to plan. You know, as they say now, mom proposes and then it's a different situation when you get there. But then again, if this situation arises, it's all in a bid for things to be better. We still have to look at it from that angle. It's been working for some people. I know that sometimes it may not go according to plan. I know that you might get there and then it's a different ball game entirely and all that and that. But in this situation, this is somebody who has come out to say, okay, this is what I want us to do as a family. I know there are all these others, what ifs. There are all these others, emotional, you know, connections. There are all these others, people's interests that we should consider and all that and that. But in this situation, I think that sitting down as a family and
having
trying
that conversation,
no matter how we look at this, it's still what it is.
Right.
The only solution to me is sitting down as a family to talk about this and trying to find a balance.
Okay.
People have to realize that we all have to calm down, put some of our fears, emotions aside, and see a way how this can work.
Right.
It's either the family of the man decides to say, okay, we change our mind, and if it's not going to, you know, go down well with your wife, if it's okay with you, maybe your wife should go with you first. Or the wife, who's the family, who's now raising dust and saying, you know what, I'm going first. How can you think of your brother first? Yada, yada. You know, now say, okay, my husband, let me give this a try. Let me see how this can work in order that, you know, your family, because we're all a family, let's see how this can work. So one person has to give. One side of the family eventually has to give so this can work.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I mean, yeah, I do agree with that. But we should go.
Yeah, before we go on the break, or after the break, I'd like us to take this, you know, away a little from this particular scenario to the people who say that I do not owe my family anything. Yes. Crazy. I would like us to just, you know, quickly talk about that before we wrap up the show.
Okay.
Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Ladies Lounge.
Everybody seems to think they will be good together. Everybody done the talk, say make you be my lover. But they don't even know if I'm your spare. I don't even know if I take your breath away. You don't even know my wildest dreams. Maybe it is all just chemistry, but I know I kinda maybe really do like you. Maybe me and you, we can try to do this love something. Maybe there's something there.
I know there's something.
And I know you kinda maybe really do like me. Maybe I could be your baby. We should start fronting. Maybe there's something there.
I know there's something, babe. I know say you like me. Your heart's keep anytime I say nice things. Maybe with a shy sense. Maybe fate don't say we can't fight this. You dey drumming, you be fine artist. We don't preach, maybe we should try practice. We could go slow like say we jam traffic. If they want talk shit, make we buy Harpic. When you step right through my door, I did wish I could huff that pinafore with a neat swagger. We could keys after, but they say your boyfriend is a street fighter. Yeah, that your smile from heaven, oh. You did dodge, trying to be careful, oh. But we still going round in circles, oh. If we don't try, we will never get to know. See as you find, you shine from head to toe. Feelings they grow, but you scared to show. Mama sat for me, mama beru, oh. If they want time, make we give them a show. Something.
And I know you kinda made it really do like me. Maybe I could be your baby. We should start fronting. Maybe there's something there.
I know there's something, but if I'm too motivated, then stop me. I mean, they feel say love you, they cuss me. But I know it's not the same in your company. And this feeling is killing me softly. Me, Omido for the beat.
All right, welcome back. It's Splash 105.5 FM, and the ladies are still in the house. We're still having this very interesting, very situation where people have different views. I'm telling you, we still have it going on. We say, no, consider his wife. Yeah. And Grace is like, no, his father has good intentions. So, let's think about that. And I'm saying, strike a balance, and make sure that everybody's good.
So I'm looking at the people who say, I do not owe my family, I do not owe my siblings, I do not owe my parents anything. I'm sure you guys have heard people spinning that narrative in recent times. Yeah. What do you think of that? What do you make of that?
Well, I think that one important thing we all should know is that we did not just fall from the sky. We had people who raised us. We had people who were instrumental to our growth, to every path we took that got us to where we are, at this time. So I don't think that it's a very good statement to say or a good mindset to have when people think or say that they do not owe anybody or their parents anything. You do owe your parents
or siblings.
Your siblings, you owe them. You owe them all the love. And I feel like
we're not talking in terms of love now.
No, I'm going there.
In terms of money.
I am honestly going there. I want to say that one of the proofs of love is that you give. And one of the things we give is that we give money, especially when we have it. So while I understand that some people might be coming from a very, very different place, maybe something of trauma, something of poor upbringing, or something around that. But, there's a place of also forgiving and moving on. So when you have, you should definitely give. You should definitely give. But I'll talk about the pressures. I would also talk about the pressures, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get that. That everyone has a right to decide what is priority to them, who they want to help, especially when they have all become adults and they can work for themselves. They have hands, they can go out there and find food. After all, there's a saying that goes, no food for a lazy man. As an adult, you can't be relying on another adult for your sustenance. You can't be relying on your sibling to constantly provide for you. I'm sure there's nobody out there like that who constantly demands, from their siblings to survive. There's hardly, I don't think there's constant all the time. Like, you sit down, fold your arms.
You don't have, you should be grateful.
Maybe they are, but I don't think it's a great thing. It's not a good thing. A 40-year-old man sitting down folding. Even if it happens, good. Let's say it happens. My saying there's nobody like that is being said to mean that it's not the right thing. It shouldn't be the case. You're 40 years old and you're a full-grown man with a family, and then you have a brother. Maybe because he's wealthy and he's doing well, you sit down, fold your arms, don't do anything, and rely on him completely for everything. That's absolutely ridiculous. Which shouldn't be the case at all. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying that to me. But then again, it is only natural for you to start feeling like, okay, I'm well off. These are my family members. I can't be comfortable. I can't be doing well. I can't be dwelling and see them struggle. You guys are blood. They're your, people. You probably were raised together. You struggle together. So because of that union, you start having that love. You have love for each other. So if you love your siblings or your parents who raised you, who took care of you, you shouldn't be comfortable sitting down, folding your arms, enjoying the good life while they struggle. So that natural bond and family relationship should should move you to wanting to provide for them. If you can support them.
Yeah, I believe in striking a balance too when it comes to giving and prioritizing yourself, because we also can see that there are people who, especially firstborns, and sometimes when we have conversations like this, I love that we have somebody who's a firstborn, because they really can relate. There's this savior mentality that some of them eventually have.
Ladies, have you watched Monica?
Yes,
I haven't. Why am I the only one who hasn't seen it?
Savior mentality.
You need to see it.
You should watch it.
I haven't seen it.
Savior mentality that some of them will grow up with, that sense of responsibility. You know, there's one thing that I always say. I love that my mom taught us independence. When we were growing up, my mom would always say that I'm not raising you for you to depend on your siblings. You, as an entity, as an individual, should be able to provide for yourself. Have your own thing, because it gives you respect and then it helps your siblings. You know, I always say that my biggest flex is I will not call anybody, and then they will say, "Hey, Tumi is calling again. She wants to beg for money. Tumi is calling again.
Yes,
she's asking for this or that." There are people that we know that when you see their hello,
you know that they want money. They want to make a demand.
You know,
you're like, oh,
and then you don't come back and say,
here we go again.
Your message.
Here we go again. What do you want this time?
So the sense of responsibility is very important, because it is not even so much about you being independent or not. It is so much about you being responsible for yourself, so that you don't assume that if somebody that is your sibling has money, they have the obligation that they're obligated to give. Because when you were talking about people now, there are some people that they are over reliant.
That's wrong.
And that's how, you know, the truth is,
that's not
it's
right.
how they grew up too.
How they were raised.
How they were raised.
Yeah. You know, some people, they're already 18 years and then they'll say, your brother is 7, or let's go and be living with you. You're figuring out, you're not even done figuring out your own life.
I would say partly,
you already have to raise another sibling of yours. So sometimes when there's no balance between you being responsible and you understanding that you also have your life,
I would also say it was how they were raised partly, but then again, some siblings just have this entitlement mentality. My brother works with this. My brother has this kind of money. You recall the case of Gege and his sister. I don't know if you saw that trend. Okay, there was a trend of Gege and his sister, and it was similar to this. I want to go back to that a little bit.
Okay.
So what was the issue? The issue was that Gege, of course, is doing well. He came on social media and he blew up, of course. Do we call him an influencer or a content creator, whatever? Anyways, he's streamer or whatever. Exactly. So he started making money. So his sister came out and said, can you guys believe that my brother, being Gege, as wealthy as he is right now, and as successful as he is right now, with all the money that he's making right now, he doesn't give me anything. She's a lot. I mean, she's up to 30 years old. She has this, you could tell that she had the entitlement mentality. My brother is so rich and was suffering.
My brother had issues with her family.
Exactly. So you see, and so when people were talking about this, some were of the opinion that this sister is entitled.
Do you know why I believe that entitlement can also be part of upbringing? You see, one thing my mom would say when we're growing up is, you don't have to call your, why do you, so if you say, my uncle is in Lagos, can we go? I'm say, of course you can travel, but don't think that maybe because your uncle stays in Lagos, where
you can always go to Lagos,
better than where you live. So you look up to Lagos as though anytime you feel like you need to go and enjoy life, because if you have that notion that where you are everything is bad for you, then you will feel like there's something better and you must. It's not where you can.
But then again,
she must. So then and then they see how their parents also call their siblings for help for everything.
Exactly.
Even little things that they could have afford. This is other movie that I saw on YouTube, Women and Beyond Steven, how that for every little thing. So if the child's bag has issues, she'll say in the presence of the lady, she says, so what happened to your bag now? Tell your auntie now, your bag has spoiled.
I get it.
Some children will watch these patterns and then they grow up to become adults who also learn to rely and depend on everybody else.
Yes, I get that. True, that is very valid. But then again, there's this character of you being trained by your parents, being shown a particular way by your parents, and you deciding not to toe in that direction. That's why you have nature versus nurture. Yes. Some people are naturally who they are. Yes, they're raised in a certain family, they're taught different things, they're shown different things, but they decide for themselves and say, you know what, I'm not going to go this way. I want to work with my hands because I have pride as an adult. I don't want to rely on anybody for food. So it's still up to you at the end of the day.
Yeah, so here's my take about this whole thing. As much as when Tumi talks about the upbringing part, how that we're teaching children to not be over reliant on themselves, we must also teach them that they must be able to support themselves. Now I call it support. I'm not saying that teach them to be dependent on themselves, but teach them to be able to support themselves. So as a sibling, you see that God has blessed you to a certain extent, but your siblings are still struggling. So you're thinking, what can I I do to make the life of my brother better? So you call your brother, my brother, okay, so I have this funds. Do you want to do business?
Yes.
Or do you want to go back to school? I'm thinking of something that can be sustainable for you. Or can I teach you how to fish instead of giving you fish? That is you supporting.
That's my stance too.
And of course, and you as the person who is getting that support, you must take away every form of entitlement. Be genuinely grateful.
Appreciate
the support that you get.
And don't be expecting all the time because this person constantly supports you. It makes sense that way.
Yeah, and then back to our initial conversation. They will just need to talk and figure out what to do.
At the end of the day, that's my take. That's been my take from the get-go. Striking a balance, talking about it. One side has to give. Yes, we know that his father, came up with the idea. His father is putting in all the money. But then again, if it's not going to work that way, they can still find a way around it. But he should be considered first in everything. And his brother, to me, should be first to go.
The show returns next week, Saturday at 5 p.m. right here in Splash 105.5 FM. My name is Tumi.
My name is Amanda.
I'm yours, Julie Grace Sackett Francis.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
lọ́pọ̀ ìgbà àwọn èèyàn kì í mọ bí dátà wọn ṣe máa ń tètè jó tán èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ alágbèéká wa jẹ́ kí n jẹ́ ẹ sí bó ti ṣe máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ gan-an kété tí olówó mi bá ti sùn ni màá ti máa ṣe ohun tí kò ní mọ̀ tó bá sì mọ̀ àpẹẹrẹ kí n sáré ṣe auto update nìyẹn tí oorun bá ti wọ̀ lára iṣẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn màá ṣe cloud backup tó bá ti wá fi oorun rẹ̀ sí GR3 gbogbo àwọn apps tó ti ṣí sílẹ̀ lèmi á máa refresh ní tèmi o tó fi dórí àwọn apps tí ó lò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ẹ mọ̀ pé mo gbọ́dọ̀ mọ gbogbo bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ lórí ayélujára tí olówó mi bá ti jí ẹgbọ́n tó máa ń wí.
yéè mo gbé o dátà tí mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣe máa ti tán.
ṣé mi ò sọ fún ẹ.
jára ẹ má jẹ́ kí fóònù ẹ máa fi dátà rẹ ṣe óblé ṣe àkíyèsí auto updates pa àwọn apps tí o kò bá nílò nígbàkúùgbà.
ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ lásán lèmi o kòkòrò tí ń jẹ dátà ní ìjẹkújẹ fún ẹni tí ò bá ṣe àmójútó dátà rẹ̀.
jẹ ìgbádùn dátà rẹ ní wẹ̀lẹ̀mú leave it 100 MTN.
Guess what? We are still the most listened to radio station. Yes, we are still the best. We are Splash 105.5.
You already know.
Tẹ́ bá ti ń gbọ́ kòkòkò lórí rédíò yín. Ẹ má rò àwọn ọmọ kan wíńdò ní o. Ètò àgò láàjì ló wọlé dé wẹ́rẹ́. Àgò láàjì.
Ayé wa dùn bí oyin, adùn bí oyin sẹ́. Yorùbá.
Àkọ́tún àràmàdà ètò tá a gbé kalẹ̀ fún yín láàrin ọ̀gànjọ́ láti ṣètanijí fún gbogbo olólùfẹ́ rédíò jákèjádò tí ò fi tàsìkò kankan ṣe nígbà tó jẹ́ pé bí ọ̀sán gẹ́lẹ́ làjì ẹlòmíín rí. àjẹ́ pé kọ́gbọ́n sọ́hún pẹ̀lú atọ́kùn ètò àgò láàjì ìyá àdínní gbogbo splash. Aminat Adétun Badmus Mọ́tfàlà ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun Tuesday láago 2 òru. Abala àkọ́kọ́ lórí ètò ni ní fàájì níbi tí ó ti máa jẹ̀gbáládùn onírúurú orin ilẹ̀ wa tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè tó sì tún pe ọkùnrin ni wálé. Abala kejì la pè ní sọ̀rọ̀ sókè níbi tí ó ti máa pè wọlé sórí ètò fẹ̀dùn ọkàn yín hàn tá ó sì máa wá ojútùú sí i pẹ̀lú àmọ̀ràn tó jiná koroko láti ẹnu ẹ̀yin amòye. Àbùláàjì nìkan ni ọmọlúwàbí Splash 105.5 FM pẹ̀lú Aminat Adétun Badmus. Káìkàìkàì. Ó máa ṣerégedé.
wọ́n tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ n ò lè ṣaláì má panilẹ́rìn lákòókò àpéjọpọ̀ ìtakùrọ̀sọ orí ìlà mọ̀lẹ́bí mi. ó tiẹ̀ da ohun tí gbogbo wọn nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí ni mò ń sè. ó náà ni àmì ìdánimọ̀ mi ti ṣe Maggi native jollof rice. ìtọ́wò ẹ̀kan lásán ara yìí kankan ò sí lẹ́yìn ẹ̀.
Maggi Star tá a ṣe látara ẹ̀wà sóyà àlùbọ́sà adùn chili àti kànáfùrù.
oúnjẹ alẹ́ ti délẹ̀ ẹ máa bọ̀ jẹ́jẹ́ tàbí kí ẹ má wà rárá.
Maggi Star yóò sọ gbogbo oúnjẹ tá a ṣe dohun ara ọ̀tọ̀ yóò sì tún sọ àkókò náà dàkókò mánigbàgbé.
iná kò sún ní ẹkọ́nọ́mì yìí ti fẹ́ sọrí.
òmìnira kò fi ọwọ́ gbà.
ohun gbogbo ti gbówó lórí báyìí ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà 500 naira kò ká nǹkan kan láti rà mọ́.
ta ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ fún ẹ ọ̀rẹ́ wa.
ìjọba èmi máa ti jọba.
pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà 500 naira. Ǹjẹ́ lo mọ̀ wípé ìtàn ìgbésí ayé rẹ lè yí padà?
ṣé lóòótọ́ báwo ṣáwọn ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé ni mi ò gbọ́ nípa ẹ̀ sọ fún mi sí i.
Àfi bí ẹni wí bí àná ni. Ọdún méjì sẹ́yìn ní káàṣì ẹ̀ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Àwọn tó gbàgbọ́ tí wọ́n sì ń ta ní gbogbo ìgbà. Àwọn yẹn gan ni wọ́n gba ọpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ káàṣì ẹ̀. Àsìkò tó láti ṣe ayẹyẹ ọdún keje káàṣì ẹ̀. Káàṣì ẹ̀ olóore ìlú tún máa san owó fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn nínú oṣù keje yìí. Ìyẹn fún àwọn olóríire tí wọ́n ń ta. Wọ́n tún máa gbọpẹ́ lákọ̀tún. Ayẹyẹ náà máa lágbára dùn ní yùngbàyùngbà. Owó tó lé ní 50 mílíọ̀nù náírà 50 mílíọ̀nù náírà ló wà nílẹ̀ láti pín. Káàṣì ẹ ti wá di alágbálúgbú omi òkun tí kò ṣeé gbọ́n tán. Ó yá gbogbo ènìyàn mú kewé wá gbọ́n bẹ̀. Bó o ṣe ń ta ayò mẹ́ta ló máa gba àǹfààní ọgbọ̀n. Táyù kan gba àǹfààní márùn-ún. Tó o bá tún pe ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ wá, ó tún gba àǹfààní ọ̀fẹ́ ẹyọ kan.
èyí pọ̀ gan o ẹ jọ báwo lèmi náà ṣe lè ta.
O lè ta pẹ̀lú kóòdù ẹ̀ lórí Splash FM *347 *1004 *1#. Lórí Ìlágẹ̀lú FM *347 *1004 *2#. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló sì tún lè ta lórí wẹ́bsáìtì www.kashare.ng. Ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi, ẹ má dúró ẹ má rọsẹ̀. Àkókò yín rè láti káàṣì ẹ̀. Ayẹyẹ ọdún kejì káàṣì ẹ̀. Ogunlẹ́gbẹ̀ èèyàn ló máa káàṣì ẹ̀. Ṣó ti káàṣì ẹ̀? Mo ti káàṣì ẹ̀.
Joy is come.
Charlatan Quality Anti-Malaria contains Artemether and Lumefantrine, available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets with very convenient dosing for kids. Charlatan is also available in tablets for adults. Knock out malaria in 3 days with Charlatan from Shalina Healthcare. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Charlatan is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
ní West Midlands Open University àmú kí ẹ̀kọ́ wà lárọ̀ọ́wọ́tó kó sì rọrùn lówó tí ò fani lápò yá. Ètò ìgbaniwọlé ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ó sì lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìrìnàjò ẹ̀kọ́ rẹ pẹ̀lú owó tó kéré tó $2,500 náírà fún abala ẹ̀kọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan course unit yàn nínú àwọn ẹ̀ka ẹ̀kọ́ tó ní ìgbéléwọ̀n káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé bíi Information Systems, Computer Science, Cyber Security, Business Administration, Finance, Public Administration, Marketing, Economics, Accounting, Human Resource Management, Mass Communication àti Educational Management. Bóyá o ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ parí ilé ìwé girama
tàbó LND, NCE, HND, A-Level tó sì fẹ́ wọlé pẹ̀lú direct entry.
Ó rọrùn pẹ̀lú WMOU. Kàn sí wa nílùú Èkó ní number 1A Ọba Akran Avenue Ìkẹjà. Níbàdàn a wà ní White House Adéwùmí Street Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ Lábẹ́òkúta .ICT Institute of Technology 52 Ìjẹ̀mà Àgbàdo Road. Ó tún lè kàn sí www.westmidlands.edu.ng tàbí kó o pe 0704-700-0167. Tẹ̀lé wa lórí ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ @WMOU Nigeria. West Midlands Open University. So àfojúsùn nípa ètò ẹ̀kọ́ rẹ di mímúṣẹ.
Guess what? We are still the most listened to radio station. Yes! That's right. We are still the best. We are Splash 105.5.
You already know.
Splash FM 105.5.
Ọba tí ń gbẹ́kú wa ládùúrà mo ti dé. Ọba tí ń gbẹ́kú wa ládùúrà mo ti dé o. Pẹ̀rọ mi rò ó. Ọgbẹ́jà mi jà wá jẹ́ màmá jádùúrà o. Òtùpọ̀ tí gbàdá ìdára kú igbá gbogbo mi ò ní bàbá jẹ́ pé mo ní Jésù ní bàbá máa yóò bá jojú. Ìwé sáré kó lè bàjẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ ṣe ń fún mi. Ọmọ ṣé ìlò ọdún mi lórí gbà lọ́dọ̀ yá ó fún màá rìn láyé láti pé bọ́lá rúbí dà. Olùsọ̀rẹ́ àdúrà mi gbà kódà kọ́ ọ̀dà mi bẹ́ẹ̀ ánsà ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ ṣe ń fún mi. Ọba tí gbẹ́kú wa ládùúrà mo ti dé. Ọba tí gbẹ́kú wa ládùúrà mo ti dé o. Kọ̀rọ̀ mi rò ọ̀gbẹ́jà mi jà wá jẹ́ màgbà jẹ́ nígbà o.